The story of Angulimal is the story of a scholar turning into a serial killer who was later saved by Buddha and became one of his most famous disciples and attained Arahtship. This story is one of the most well-known stories from the life of Buddha. Let's explore the life of Angulimal, the robber who used to wear a necklace of fingers of the hundreds of people whom he had killed, and how he became the patron saint for the expecting mothers. Angulimal's real name was Ahimsak, or one who is harmless. His father Bhargav was the royal priest to the king Pasendi of Kaushal and lived in the capital city of Sravasti. His mother Mantani was a simple devoted woman. He received his education at the famous Dakshina University, which was one of the highest education centers and one of the earliest universities of the ancient world, established in the 10th century BC. At Dakshina University, he proved himself to be an excellent student and soon gained the favor of his teacher. But his achievements as the best performing student and his growing closeness with the teacher did not get very well with other classmates, and they started plotting a conspiracy to poison the mind of his teacher against him. His classmates were successful in their conspiracy. They made false allegations against him of improper behavior with the wife of the teacher. The teacher, without verifying the validity of the allegations, decided to punish him and take cruel revenge. The teacher decided that Ahimsak must be killed, but he was concerned that if he gets killed while studying at the university, it will have a bad impact on his reputation, and students may not want to study under him. So he plotted a scheme to completely destroy him. He decided that he will ask for his Guru Dakshina, or the parting gift of the teacher. The custom of Guru Dakshina, or the gift to the teacher, was strictly followed in ancient India. He called Ahimsak and demanded that as the gift of the teacher, he wanted 1,000 human little fingers to be collected from the right hand of the victims after killing them. The teacher was certain that Ahimsak would get killed while trying to collect the fingers. This way, the student will get killed while the teacher would not get any blame for his murder. With great reluctance, Ahimsak decided to fulfill the command of his teacher. Armed with swords, daggers, and spears, he reached the Jalini forest along the southern borders of the kingdom of Kaushal. He chose a strategic location on the top of a cliff that overlooked the center of the forest, where 8 roads met and which was always busy with traveling traders. He started killing people to collect fingers for the offering. At first, Ahimsak tied the fingers he collected from his victims and hung them on a tree, but they were all eaten and destroyed by crows and vultures whenever he left to look for more victims. He realized that if this continued, he would never achieve his goal. Then he decided to string the fingers with thread and wear them as a garland around his neck. This also helped him keeping the count of the people killed. Now he was known by the name Angulimal, or one who had a necklace of fingers. As he kept on killing people, he lost every kind of feelings about killing innocent men and women. Even children were not spared by him. Ahimsak, the innocent and kind scholar, was long gone and was replaced by the cruel killer Angulimal. He was dreaded by the people who lived around the forest. As the news of the killings spread in the area, traders and villagers stopped traveling through the forest. The terror of Angulimal was such that not even soldiers dared to pass through the Jalini forest. In desperation, Angulimal started to enter the villages on the fringe of the forest at night. He forcefully entered homes and killed entire families in one go. Gradually, the villages around the forest started getting abandoned due to his terror. The villagers went to the king to plead with him to free them from the terror of Angulimal. The king assured them that he will himself get him killed. The news spread throughout the city that the king is going to the forest with a large army to flush out and kill Angulimal. Bhargav, the priest, immediately understood that the dreaded killer was his son. He returned home and discussed with his wife the resolve of the king to kill Angulimal. Mantani, the mother of Angulimal, decided that she will go to the forest and bring back her son before he gets killed by the king. She woke up early in the morning and prepared food for her son. She left for the forest before the dawn so that no one could see her going inside the forest. At that time, Buddha was staying at the Jetavana monastery in Sravasti. Angulimal had already collected 999 fingers. Buddha found that the people of the nearby areas lived in constant fear. There was suffering all around. With great compassion, he decided to give relief to the suffering people. He decided to teach the Dhamma to Angulimal. He started walking towards the Jalini forest, which was located 30 miles away. The farmers and villagers who saw him going towards the forest pleaded with him not to enter the forest and advised him to stay away from the forest as Angulimal was active in the area. That morning, Angulimal woke up very early. He was filled with anxiety as he needed just one more finger to achieve his goal. He resolved that he will kill the very first person whom he saw that day and will complete his 1000 fingers. He left the cliff and came down near the road. Angulimal was hiding in the bushes when he suddenly saw someone walking on the road. He could make out the person was an old woman. When she came close, he was filled with excitement as he realized she was his mother. His eyes were filled with tears. But the impact of his bad karma took over, and he reminded himself that he needed to fulfill a larger goal. He raised his dagger and started moving towards his mother to collect her finger after killing her. By that time, Buddha had reached the place. Suddenly, Angulimal saw him walking slowly on the other side of the road. He saw that the monk was alone and had no weapons. He thought it would be very easy to kill him. He decided that instead of his mother, now he will kill the monk, and he started to chase him. Buddha, by his psychic powers, created an illusion on the way so that Angulimal was not able to get near him. Although Buddha walked at his normal pace and Angulimal ran as fast as he could, but he could not overtake the Buddha. He kept on running for several miles, but he failed to come close enough to strike him. His legs were tired and he was out of breath. Panting and sweating, he stopped and shouted, "Stop, ascetic! Ascetic, stop!" The Buddha calmly said, "I have stopped, Angulimal. You too stop." Angulimal thought to himself, "The ascetic calls me by my dreaded name. Though he is still walking, yet he says, 'I have stopped.' While I have stopped, as I am tired and can no longer run. And he is asking, 'Angulimal, you too stop.'" Angulimal was puzzled. He thought he will ask about the meaning of the words from the monk himself. He walked forward and looked at the monk. Now he could recognize the monk. He realized that the great ascetic was Lord Buddha himself, who out of compassion had come to help him. Buddha told him, "Angulimal, I have stopped forever. I am merciful to all living beings, and I abstain from causing any harm to them. But you, on the other hand, are merciless to living beings. You have no compassion towards life. That is why I say, I have stopped, but you have not. On reflecting deeply upon the words of Buddha, he realized the great depth of meaning. His face lit up, and his weapons simply dropped from his hands. He threw away his necklace of rotting human fingers and took refuge in the triple gems and started practicing Dhamma. Mantani stood a short distance away and witnessed the transformation of her son. She was overwhelmed and relieved by the surrender of her son to the Buddha. News spread in Sravasti that Angulimal had become a bhikkhu. The king of Kaushal was very relieved to know about his conversion. Angulimal started to go to villages on alms round, but he encountered great difficulties. Only a few people, trusting the Buddha's judgment, changed their attitude towards him and offered alms when he stood before their door. Most people still feared him. They shut their doors and windows when he arrived in the village for the alms. On many days, Angulimal could not get any food when he went on his alms round. Many others were outright hostile. They could not forgive him for killing their loved ones. But he understood why people behaved that way toward him. He had no anger or hatred towards anyone. One day, as he went on his alms round, he saw a woman in pain. She was unable to deliver her unborn child. Moved by compassion, he discussed the woman's suffering with the Buddha and asked for his guidance. Buddha advised him to pronounce the words of truth, which would help her. He returned to the woman and affirmed, "Sister, since my birth in the noble Dhamma, I have never intentionally harmed any living being. By this merit, may you and your child be peaceful and safe." Instantly, she delivered a child with ease. Later, Angulimal's assertion of the truth of his spiritual rebirth came to be known as the Angulimal Paritta. The efficacy of this Paritta persists to this day, and in several Buddhist countries, the Angulimal Paritta is recited to bless and provide protection to the expecting mother and her unborn baby. Angulimal became the Patron Saint for expecting mothers. He intensified his practice and retired to the forest to perfect his meditation practices as a forest monk. He was finally able to attain the Arahtship. Some villagers were not able to forget and forgive that he had killed their family members. They understood that they could not get justice through legal means because the king had already pardoned him. They decided to take revenge on their loved ones. One day, while Arhat Angulimal was on his alms round, he was attacked by an angry mob of villagers. He was brutally beaten up by rocks and sticks. When the mob felt that the monk was dead, they left him and went away. Severely injured, Arhat Angulimal gathered whatever strength he could collect and returned back to Jetavana monastery. With great determination, he managed to reach the gate. The Buddha saw him and lifted him gently. Wiping his blood, he comforted Arhat Angulimal. The Buddha knew that Angulimal's last moment had come. He consoled him, "Son, you are experiencing the results of your karma that you had committed in the past. You must remain firm in Dhamma." Resting against the Buddha's body, Arhat Angulimal uttered his last words, "Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami." With these final words, Arhat Angulimal attained Nibbana. According to Fakshiyan, the Angulimal Stupa in Sravasti marks the site where Angulimal was cremated. If you found value in this video, please give it a thumbs up. We are constantly coming out with new videos on the life of Buddha and the Buddhist heritage. If the information provided by the video was useful, please subscribe to the channel for similar informative videos on Buddhism. Please share your thoughts on the life of Angulimala in the comment section below.